My dad's probably sitting inside being like, literally, what is she doing? I'm trying to find good lighting. I'm just trying to find good lighting. I knew you'd be confused what I'm doing. Nope, just trying to find good lighting. See, I told you my dad would be confused. That's good, right? That's good? Yeah, well now my battery's dying. So. Hi friends, it's Emma. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today we're going to be talking all things solo travel, new solo travelers to be exact, because I myself am a new solo traveler. I'm a newbie. I'm new to the whole solo travel thing. I'll give you a little background on my solo travel journeys, and then we can get into all the tips and tricks that I have for you guys if you also want to go into solo traveling, because it's a lot of fun. First time I ever flew by myself was in 2019, I think. 2019 I flew by myself to North Carolina. 2020 I flew by myself to North Carolina. This last time I flew by myself was to Miami. I have gone to Bourbon Street by myself, the French Quarter by myself, and like I just mentioned, I have flown all the way to Miami by myself and explored Miami all on my lonesome with nobody else there with me. So I am going to go over pre-travel tips like booking trips and Airbnbs and things you should look for and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm also going to go over when you get there, things I do when I'm there to make sure I get the most out of my experience, and also to stay safe, because that's a huge part of solo traveling. Traveling by yourself, especially as a woman, can be very scary. But personally, I don't really ever get scared whenever I'm traveling by myself, but I know it can be very scary, and especially for your first time. We're gonna go ahead and get right into this. Make sure if you want to get into solo traveling, you stick around for all of my tips and tricks. Like I said, I'm no professional. I think I've gotten some pretty good insight on what it's like to be a solo traveler with the little amount of experience that I have, so I just want to share with you guys. First of all, booking trips. This, for me personally, is the most stressful part. I don't know about you guys, but I don't have a huge budget to just drop on a trip. Trying to find affordable flights, affordable hotels or Airbnbs. So I'm gonna tell you guys how I booked my Miami trip and how I booked this last trip that I just booked that I'm going on in 14 days. So for my Miami trip, I booked my flight through American. That's personally my favorite airline to fly, is American. It's just comfortable for me because that's what I've flown before. That's just the airline I booked with. I actually used the Hopper to book all of my flights. The Hopper is a great app to go and look for flights on. They always have really good deals. They also alert you when they're having certain deals. They'll have like $40 off of flights, or like they'll tell you when certain flights are super cheap. So downloading the Hopper is a really good way to get cheaper flights. A really good feature that I really like from the Hopper, if I go into the Hopper app and I click on flights, I always travel out of Kansas City because that's the closest airport to me. It's also smart if you have other airports close to you to look at the price of the flights from multiple airports, because some of them can be cheaper than the other. Say if I know I want to go to Boston because that's a place I want to fly this year, and I want to go in May. All the green dates are going to be your cheapest. Yellow is the next, orange is the next, and red is the most expensive. If you're flexible with your dates, then you can go ahead and just pick when the flights are going to be the cheapest. You also get Hopper cash back every time you book a flight, and whenever you book your first flight, you get Hopper cash. That's a great way to get money off of your next flight or your next hotel. If you book with just the airline, obviously you can get miles. That's a nice way to add up miles to be able to book free flights or book cheaper flights. But yeah, that's how I booked my flight to Miami. I booked it on the Hopper. My base fare was $100. My taxes and fees were $45. They automatically add a tip onto the Hopper. It's $5. And I also had Carrot Cash, which deducted $10. So overall, my flight was $141. You can also, a good option for flights is just typing in cheap flights to Boston as an example, and then the Google flights will pop up. If you're flexible with your dates, you can click the I'm flexible option or whatever. You can also, I'm pretty sure on the Google flights, you can type in cheap flights and then click the I'm flexible option or whatever, something around that wording, and it will give you the cheapest flights to the cheapest places, and you can book that if you just kind of want to go somewhere and you don't have a specific place or specific dates in mind. So that's a good way to get affordable flights. I booked an Airbnb for this last trip for Miami. On Miami Beach, the Airbnbs were much cheaper than the hotels. I'm sure there are places where hotels are a little bit cheaper than Airbnbs, but I also didn't want to stay in a super low budget hotel, like sketchy hotel, if you know what I mean, because I was by myself. I kind of wanted to stay in something nicer so I knew that I was safe. So I opted for an Airbnb because I didn't want to pay $300 a night for a hotel, because the prices for the hotels on Miami Beach were insane. And if you found a good price for a hotel, the cleaning fees and the taxes and that kind of stuff added like an extra at least $100 on. So it was crazy. I booked mine through the Airbnb app. I looked through like all of the Airbnbs on Miami Beach that were in my budget, and then I looked at all the reviews, made sure they had a lot of reviews. You want to make sure that your Airbnbs have a lot of reviews. If they have like 5 reviews and they're all really good, they all look like accounts from people who could be not real, then no, you don't want to book that Airbnb. You also want to make sure it's in a safe place. So you want to do a lot of research for where you're going before you go. I made sure that my Airbnb was in a safe place. My mom and I both. My mom is very worried about me anywhere I am, everywhere I go, and anything I do, which is very nice. And it was nice having her do research as well as me doing research. You want to make sure that where you're going is as safe as possible. There are so many travel blogs that you can look up that will tell you if you're going to a big city like Miami Beach, that can tell you. I found a perfect article that was talking all about female solo travel in Miami Beach, places you should and shouldn't go, things you should look out for, things you should carry with you, all that kind of stuff. So that was really nice. There's so many articles that you can find, different articles and videos that talk about safe places to go and the not safe places to go, depending on where you're traveling. But back to Airbnb, you want to make sure that your Airbnb has a ton of reviews. Like I said, obviously read through those reviews. If a ton of them say bad things about them, obviously do not book that one. I made sure to get an Airbnb that was above 4 stars and that the host was above 4 stars. I made sure that the reviews that I checked had a lot of good feedback about the host, because even if they're just posting about how clean the place was, how nice it was, all that kind of stuff, the host could be sketchy. So you want to make sure that the reviews are saying good things about the host. So I got down to the last 3 that I was looking at that all had good reviews, all said good things about the host. And then it really just came down to the area that it was in. And then the hosts can also list the things that they include in their Airbnbs, such as for Miami Beach, 2 out of the 3 of the hosts that I was looking at included beach chairs, beach towels, beach umbrellas, boogie boards, like that kind of beach stuff that's super nice that you don't want to bring on a plane with you, but you also don't want to buy when you're there and have to take back with you. That was something that was kind of important to me because I wanted to not have to go buy a beach towel or bring my own beach towel. I didn't want to have to go rent a beach chair or rent a beach umbrella or anything like that. So it was really nice that they provided all that stuff. And then also the proximity to the beach was a big thing for me. And a couple of them, all of the 3 that I got down to were on Miami Beach, but some of them were more inland in Miami Beach, if that makes sense. The one I ended up choosing was literally like a block away from the beach. I could see it from my window. So I ended up picking a really good Airbnb. I loved where I was at. I made sure to leave a really good review for my host so that the next people knew that it was a good option. I also made sure in my review to state that it was a really good place for solo travelists, because maybe a solo traveler is looking at staying there next. For being a block from the beach, my Airbnb was so good. It wasn't even $500. I stayed there for 3 nights. It was like 4 something. I don't exactly remember how much it was, but it wasn't even $500. And that was like so much cheaper than all of the hotels that were on Miami Beach. It was insane. So overall for that trip with my flight and my stay, I ended up paying like $600, which is really good for a beach vacation. When I went to New Orleans for spring break last year with Mia to visit Morgan, we also ended up getting a hotel for the weekend. We used Expedia, and when you use Expedia, you can find super cheap deals, dude. Super cheap deals. They have an option where they show you 3 different hotels, and it's like much cheaper per night than every other hotel. So we had 3 really nice hotels in downtown New Orleans for our options, and they were like $100 a night or something like that. And obviously we were splitting it, so it was like $50 a night. So it was awesome. They give you 3 options. You pay the however much a night. You pay the amount for however long you're staying. And then they tell you which hotel you're getting. They literally are like, you're gonna get one of these 3 hotels for this price, pay it, or you're gonna pay like double for another hotel that you want per night. So you pay that amount, and then they're like, surprise, this is the hotel you're staying at. And you just saved so much money. So that's like my favorite way to book hotels. They didn't have that option on Miami Beach. They had it in Miami, but not in Miami Beach. So unfortunately, I couldn't do that. Every time I had gone to the airport to fly somewhere, my mom just dropped me off at the airport, said, goodbye, have fun, love you. And then I walked my happy butt into the airport, and that was it. This last time, no one took me to the airport. I had to find airport parking, leave my car there, get a ride to the airport, and do that same thing when I got back home. So let's talk about how you do that real fast. There are plenty of websites that you can go on. There are a ton of hotels around the airport within like 1 or 2 miles that have airport parking. So basically, you just get on one of those websites. I found the cheapest one. I don't even remember how much it was, but it was very cheap. Basically, you just sign in, pay for it, tell them your dates, and you're done. And that's it. Then you go, drive to your airport hotel, walk inside, say, hey, I've got airport parking. They give you a thing to stick on your car, and then they tell you where to go park. You go park your car. You come back inside. At least this is what I did at the place that I got airport parking at. You come back inside, you wait for the shuttle. In my case, the shuttle was a van with an old man driving it, kind of sketchy, but I trusted it. So you wait for the shuttle or the old man, and you hop in, you say, take me to this terminal, and then they take you and they drop you off, and that's it. It's pretty easy. I was really worried about it. I had never done it before, especially not by myself. So I was very, very nervous to do that, but it's not that big of a deal. I definitely will do it again. It was really easy. My car was there when I got back. Last time I left my car in Kansas City, it got broken into and this window got replaced. So yeah, you can do that at a lot of airport hotels. The airports also have options for this, but it's much more expensive than the hotels, I promise you. Let's talk airports. Airports can be very scary and intimidating and uncomfortable at times. Signs are so helpful. Get the app for the airline that you're flying with. It helps so much. They have a map of the whole airport on there. They even have like a GPS in the app that will take you from the gate that you're at to the next gate you need to be at. Or you can type in food and it'll take you to the food that you're wanting to go to. So that is critical for huge airports, like the Miami airport is gigantic, Chicago airport's big, Charlotte airport is big. Those are the 3 like biggest ones I've been in. The Miami one was the first one. I had to take a train to get from my terminal to the baggage claim. It was insane. I had never had to do that before, and I did it in the Miami airport. Yeah, so you just want to make sure that you're looking at the signs. Also, do not be afraid to go up and ask people where you're supposed to be going, because they work there for a reason and they get questions every single day. So I can guarantee you, whatever question you're going to ask is not the dumbest question that they've heard before. So do not be afraid to go up and ask questions. Also, make sure to double check the gate that you're supposed to be at, because my flight out of Miami, I almost missed it. No, I didn't almost miss it. I barely got there because I was sitting at the wrong gate the whole time. And then it was like 5 minutes past boarding. And I was like, why aren't we boarding yet? And then it was because I was at the wrong gate. So I had to go to the right gate, which it wasn't very far away, which was really good, because if it was, I probably would have missed my flight. And that would have been my own stupid fault. So you want to make sure you double check what gate you're supposed to be at, because that is important. Also, one thing that I really have to remind myself, because I always feel like people are constantly staring at me and like worried about what I'm doing, and nobody's staring at you. I have to remind myself of that constantly, especially while I'm at an airport, because there are so many people there. Nobody is staring at you. Nobody is worried about what you're doing. They're all worried about getting to where they need to go. They're all worried about getting food that they want. They're all worried about themselves or the group of people that they're with. Nobody's worried about you. Nobody's paying attention to you. So you don't have to worry about that, because that's a big worry for me whenever I'm in big places like that. Security's weird. I mean, it's just such an odd concept for me. We're all just like chilling there without our shoes on. Like, it seems like a very intimate thing with a bunch of strangers. We're all just hanging out, shoeless. Like, that's, I don't know why I think that's so weird, but I do. Make sure you wear comfy shoes that are easy to take on and off, because you have to take your shoes off for airport security. I think like after you turn 13 or something like that. So shoes off, easy shoes to take on and off is a good idea. I wore my Converse last time, and if you have Converse, you know they're not the easiest shoes to take on and off. So I had to learn how to do that very quickly. Yeah, once you get through security, it's pretty much a breeze. You just have to go find your gate. They're all in order, so it's not super hard. Just always be aware of your surroundings. This goes with literally anything you do when you're by yourself or with other people, honestly.